come to buy a scarf? Yeah. Well, you're in the right place, clearly. I have a variety of wares to peddle, many options to show you. Were you in the market for anything in particular? No. Well, alright. Sorry. I know I sound suspicious, but most people that come into my shop are looking for something, even if they don't know it yet. So maybe it's just a matter of figuring out what you're looking for. Yeah, well, let's start with something simple, maybe. Here we have springy, youthful, looks like silk but not quite. One of the more affordable options. It's a square, pale blue, very pretty, very bright. Energy, I would say, naivete even, if naivete can be good. This would be good perhaps for a grandmother, a tired parent, anyone wanting not only to have the energy that they did when they were young, but to enjoy the world, the flowers, the playing, the way they did. It's not powerful, not strong, but it is only a children's scarf. A child helped make it. A child helped weave it. A child helped tie the threads. That conveys power, but children, no matter how much power they put in, are not, on the whole, powerful enough to transform a nation with a scarf. Still, not a bad purchase. Not if you're beaten down and looking for joie de vivre. Not for you? Okay. Well, that's only one. Next. Well, you look like an adventurer. Yeah. Come from across the sea or across the mountains? Across the mountains. Well, then this will be very good for you. I heard there was a dragon up there. Yep. Fire breather. Gold stealer. Princess kidnapper. Not that we have much to worry about in the princess department. No, but this will offer you protection from fire. This is silk, and it floats like it. It's like wrapping yourself in air. You'll go quietly and swiftly, and if you step into flames, you should come out the other side singed, but not dead, which is what most of us hope for when we enter fire. This one or two generations old. You see it's wrinkled. It'll come out with some steam, but silk does wrinkle. You want that generally to prove its worth. Dyed down south, I should think. Maybe by the river. Not particularly watery colors, but it should have some power of water, some power of air. This one is more expensive. Yes, well, one does want something more quality if you're planning to walk into fire and walk out the other side unscathed. Here, would you like to try? Yes. There you are. Did it feel right? Did it feel good? Yeah, well, it is silk, so it's going to feel good no matter what, but not right. That is an important distinction. Yeah. It's good to grasp it. Some people walk in here and they think, oh, I'm going to put on silk and I'm going to feel amazing. And they're right, but you can feel amazing and it can still not be right. You should settle when you get the right one. I don't dabble in fate much, but I like to think I've woven enough in to the shop, to the scarves hanging, that the right one will be clear. Let's set this aside for now. If not fire, maybe then water. This one is not silk, not entirely, but enough that it floats like it, enough that it's got some air. This one would be good for a journey across the sea, for any fishing trip, though I would worry it would get torn. Maybe even playing in the water. It will keep you from drowning, at least for a time. It won't quite allow you to breathe underwater. It is a scarf. I sell scarves, and not amulets or any objects of real power. Just enough to nudge you the right way, you know? Yeah. So this will protect you from drowning, protect you from hypothermia in the water, I would hope, if you're planning to go to the North Sea. And aside from anything else, it is very pretty. You can just wear a scarf for the look of it. This one is a square too, but big enough to wear over your head. Though perhaps you might want to fold it into a triangle and use it as a kerchief. Though I suppose it would be a very fine kerchief. Perhaps not one you would want to waste on everyday things. Here we are. Not right on me, no. Not my color. But on you? Any good? Well, the light has gone a bit blue, and that's a good sign, but still not quite right. Oh, thank you. Yes, I like mine. This one is gold. Not power, but influence. A little bit of love. A little bit of love never goes amiss. It's my selling scarf. Like I said, I don't do amulets, objects of power, but I like little influences. Little nudges. So I can't convince you to buy anything, but I can convince you to buy the right thing. And that's important. Not fire, not water, not youth. Well, here's a good one. Fortune, luck, coincidence. This one's new, wrinkled, of course, it is silk, but unworn by anyone else, which you generally want when you've got a bit of luck on. Sometimes a scarf imprints I guess would be the word. It settles on an owner and decides that's the one it wants to work on. And with luck, that can mean it'll find its way back to that owner, often at your expense. This one is new, large, good enough to wear as a headscarf, if you're in the mood for wearing a headscarf. Good to wear over a cloak. And a cathedral. Around the shoulders too. Always a classic. I wouldn't try it on gambling. It's a little too finicky for that. But little things, you know. You don't step in a puddle you would have stepped in. You find your wallet before you've realized you've even forgotten it. Person in front of you at the bakery decides they want to pay it forward, and you get a free croissant. It doesn't sound like a lot. Not when you're thinking of objects of power, when you're thinking of altering the fate of someone or of toppling a throne. But if you live a quiet life and a good life, a little bit of luck never goes amiss. I think we're getting closer. Let's try it on you. Well, you do look very good. Better than it did on me, and that's a good sign. But, is it right? Is it what we want? Not quite. There you go. You're getting into it. Lots of people come in. They don't get the feel. They say, no, I want that one. That one's prettier. That one's more powerful. That's not how scarves work. It's clothing. It's fashion. It's warmth. It's protection. You don't go and buy a cloak because it's purple. You buy it because it's going to keep you warm, because your other one has holes in it, because you saw it on someone else and you thought they looked amazing. You don't just buy it because it's pretty. You buy it because you want it or you need it. And that's what scarves ought to be. At least these ones, if you're being careful. No fire, no water, no youth, no luck. Here we go. This is one of my oldest. I would say about 3 centuries, and it protects you from the plague. No, I'm kidding. No, that's just a joke. The spots were fashionable back then. This was a party scarf. Worn, I think, for attention. Certainly to feel fabulous. And it will get you attention. It's translucent, very clear, so it shouldn't obscure who you are. Lots of beauty spells will do that. They'll make you more beautiful by making you less obvious, or make you prettier by blurring out the ugly parts of you. But this just is bright and clear and fun. I think people forget to put fun in sometimes, and you won't with this one. Yeah, I'm not sure what the netting is made of. Cotton, I think, and something else. Certainly there's magic in the thread, even if there isn't in the weaving. And there's magic in the felt here, too. Just a little bit. Just enough to keep it alive, keep it pretty. This one I found at a market. There were maybe 2,000, 3,000 stalls. This was hidden way in the back of some secondhand fortune hunter's junk, and it caught my eye because it's always supposed to catch your eye, and it's very good at that. No, not for you. Well, I'm glad you're sure. It's good to be sure. But I have been looking for an owner for this one for some time now. I like her in an ugly, cute way, like a pug or a lizard that just is a little bit weird, but so adorable. And I'd like to find her someone fine, someone who goes to parties, good parties with wine and dancing till 3 a.m. But not you. No, you're rough and tumble? Not quite. What are you? Fun, clever, curious, not altogether stubborn, but determined, brave, maybe? Maybe. You could be. All right, well, no, I agree. This one isn't for you. It's a shame, but I'll find her an owner someday. Well, do you have any idea yet what you're looking for? No, none of those, no. Yeah, those are the ones I show most often to most of the people who come in. Some buy, some don't. Some realize they're looking for something outside the shop, and that's alright too, though. I do wear this in the hopes of making a sale. No luck, no water, no fire, no youth. Where are you going after this? Do you have plans? No plans. But you don't want coincidence. Alright. Here we go. This one, like youth, not quite silk, but not silk. Something magic, something created to imitate it without wrinkling. You tell me, what do you think this one is? You're getting a sense for it. Here, I'll put it on and you tell me. Not quite youth, no. Wet earth. Bulbs about to germinate. Rain. Freshness. The smell of a tomato when you've ripped the stem off. Yes? You're natural. This one is also youth in a way, but it's less about energy and joie de vivre and more about endurance, survival, new shoots after a long winter, wet earth, clean rain. This could be one for you. You're an adventurer. You go out in the wild. Endurance is good. Survival is necessary. And you're not stuck with this one. Sometimes you go and you ask for survival, and they give you something that freezes you, that turns you to stone, and you survive, but God, at what cost? This one, gentler. It is a scarf. Quieter. More beautiful, maybe. More natural. Will not protect you from harm, but after it you will heal. It will not save you from danger, but it will give you courage to get past it. Yes, Yes, more valuable perhaps than its twin, youth. Less flashy, less bright, less appealing. There is a reason I don't give this one out immediately to every customer who walks in, but I'm showing it to you because I think it might be good for you. Do you think it would be? No. Interesting. Most people who walk in, they told me no on so many. I would say, you're crazy, get out of here, or buy something. But you have a sense for this. It's nice. It's good. You do this a long time, and I have. I look very young, but looks can be deceiving when you run a magic shop. You learn that most people aren't willing to wait and listen and be led, but not too firmly. It's nice when someone has the talent of waiting the right time, waiting just long enough, and listening just hard enough, and then deciding. It's nice. All right, no spring for you. This one. I had it up there because I thought, well, who's going to buy this? It's $250 from a wedding, I think. Though white was not so common back then. Lace, delicate, very expensive. Takes all the time in the world and skill I don't have, certainly. But you, I'm not sure. You walked in and I thought rough and tumble, well, sort of, and an adventure, you know, wanderer, looking around, poking in shops, hoping something will come the right way, and this I was saving for maybe a girl very in love, maybe a boy very not. Something not to save a marriage, but to make it easier, to make the start brighter, or to make the end swifter and softer. It wants to be loved, you see. It wants it very badly. And that can be dangerous if it doesn't have love. So an adventure, one wonders, will it be cared for, or will it be stained? Will it be mended, or will it be left ripped on the side of the road? But you're tricky. You are tricky. And now I think, well, no one's wanted this one in 50 years, and I haven't found someone I'd be willing to give it to in 60. And you walk in, and I wonder. Try it. What do you think? No, not for you. Well, I think you're quite right in that. But I had hoped. I did like you, didn't it? Did. It's good you can feel that. You could love it, couldn't you? But not enough. All right, well, this one will go back. Let me turn on the lamp. It's getting dark. You expected me to light it. I am magic. I don't need a candle. You don't need a candle. Well, if you say so. This could be something. Black, spangled, translucent but not transparent, black but not opaque, old but not ancient. If that one wanted to be loved, this one wants to be adored. It is pretty, isn't it? Dangerous, maybe, but pretty. Its last 3 owners did not come to good ends, but that's what happens when you want beauty at the expense of clarity. I told you earlier that some people go after a beauty spell and it just blurs them and blurs them and blurs them until they fade into the background altogether. Very beautiful, but unnoticed. And that's what would happen to someone if they used it unwisely. And it is very hard to use beauty wisely. But it's not cursed. People say it is. I've had, is it 2 or 3 descendants now come in and say, we don't want it, it's cursed, you'll take it, won't you? And yes, I'll take it, but it's not cursed. It's just in the wrong hands. So it can be useful. You're an adventurer, you're a wanderer. Surely sometimes you need to get into places you shouldn't be, and this will get you there. Even if it is for mourning before someone's dead. It is pretty though. It's not working yet. Takes some time. It is clever, you know. It has to be a gradual thing. Someone walks in more beautiful than they've ever been, and you think, wow, someone got a beauty spell. Someone walks in and they have a pretty new scarf, and you think, wow, their eyes look nice with that. And then the next time you think, wow, it really makes their hair glow. And then 3 weeks later, they're the most beautiful thing you've ever seen, and you can't remember what their face looks like. But once or twice, you put it on, you charm your way in. Not a bad thing if you take it off again. Not a bad thing if you can. It's just a matter of being clever enough to know when to put it on and wise enough to know when to take it off. Why don't you try it? Well, you look wonderful. But that's a given. It is nice on you. It is good. And I don't know if this one will be right on anyone, which is why I've kept it. It's not hard to pawn off on someone who walks in, maybe jilted, maybe depressed, maybe just looking for something new to spice it up, and they take this and they lose everything because it's not right for them. But it will be right for someone someday, I hope, even if it's not you. Well, you've put me in a bind. I do have a storeroom in the back, but those need mending often. I've got one with moth holes eaten through it, and it's leaking magic like a magic scarf with holes bitten through it that's leaking magic. There isn't really a good comparison for it. Even a sieve is meant to leak, and scarves certainly are not. Maybe I could mend one. Well, I got one more to show you, even though I don't know that it's right. This one. What is it? What is it? Enchantment for thread, certainly on the warp, if not on the weft. Crinkled, old, loved. Very sad. Very tired. There's a reason I don't show this one often, and it's not because it's dangerous and it's not because it's powerful. It's just no one really wants to buy a scarf that makes them think about death. And this one, woven by a widow, I think, or maybe a widower. I know they lost their son recently, and that he'd done the thread. And it's hard to weave, especially with enchantment, and not have grief pour into it. But as much as grief poured in, you know, love does too. And that's what this does. It doesn't bring you happiness. It doesn't bring you love, but where there is love and where it is loved, I suspect, it will protect that. At least as far as any scarf can. This one I won't put on you. I haven't worn this one, and I do most of them to check that someone hasn't woven a curse into them, just in case. You know, I'm happy to deal with my ears being turned into cauliflowers because I know how to turn them back into ears, but most people, when you sell them a scarf and their ears turn into cauliflowers because of it, tend to get very mad. And to be frank, I'm very tired of changing my face and moving 3 kingdoms away just to escape angry villagers with pitchforks. Not for you, I think. No, but I had to show it. Well, I suppose I could go back into the storeroom. I do have something that could be mended fairly quickly, and maybe that's what you're here for. Or maybe you want something half mended to mend it yourself. That could be true. I had that happen once. She was halfway through a quest. 3 days later, discovered that she was being challenged to mend something magic, and she had it right in her back pocket. That one was coincidence, I think, not fortune, which is maybe better, maybe worse. Maybe... That one. Oh. No. No. Look, I like you. We've discussed this. I like you. You're clever. You listen. No, that's not for you. Just trust me. I've been in this business 80, 90 years by one count. 3 by another, but that's giants and they live so long anyways. It doesn't really... You want to see it. Well, I haven't found anyone else who'd see it. I haven't found anyone else who wants to pick it up. Okay, you've convinced me. But are you sure? Because I got this one from a world jumper. They'd gone 3 worlds over and they got it, I don't know where. I like to stay in this world where we've got nice civilized things like magic and dragons, and they do not have either. So their silk is made out of worms and not nano-dragons, which... gross. I'm sorry, but gross. You're okay with worms. Alright. Look, I'm not trying to be mean. I worry. Because, this came from a world without dragons, which means it comes from a world where the silk is perfectly ordinary. There's no magic in it. And the trouble with things that start off ordinary and become magical is that they can never really decide what they are. This one was woven in a river. Threads of enchantment pulled up from the depths, and it knows that's what it is. It's always been that. This one, it was a scarf. And then it was still a scarf, but not quite. And that's dangerous. But perhaps not to you. It has a print of a painting, I believe. A man kissing a woman. Passionate, maybe violently. It's hard to tell, really, and that's the trouble with this scarf. It's hard to tell. I put the magic in there, which I don't usually do, but experiments are good, and one doesn't like to be left behind in their ever-evolving field. So I poked at it. I added here and here and here wealth and love and maybe a little bit of power. And those don't tend to hold in a scarf. They get at the weft and they unravel the fabric. They tear little holes. They attract moths. They want more than they are, and they want out. And the scarf unravels and the magic goes into nothing, because of course that's where it was going to go if it wasn't in a scarf. But this one, I did this 10 years ago, and it's held, which means it wants to be where it is. And that worries me, because if a scarf can't decide what it is, and the magic wants to be there, that means the magic wants to decide, and I would not trust that. I've been around magic long enough to know that letting it decide for you is dangerous, potentially good in the end, but only if you're very lucky, and only if it likes you, and I'm not a betting woman. I don't gamble. But it is beautiful, and it is powerful. And if you spotted it, and if you listened, try it. Well, no, you don't need to say anything, I can tell. I've worked in this industry long enough to tell. I'll be sorry to see it go. I do like it, even if I won't wear it. It's pretty and capricious, and that can be fun if you don't let it get out of hand. And it is exotic. It's always nice to have something from a world jumper. Makes me feel cultured, cosmopolitan. But it is yours. It is yours. Tell you what, I like you, and you listened, and you let me ramble on and on and on without interrupting me or pointing at one or the other, and, well, I like you. So, because I like you, and because you do look very good in it, I'll give you it for free with one condition. Come back here. A year and a day from now, maybe. Magic likes that number. A fortnight would do, but you should try it for longer. Come back to me and tell me how it went and what it did, and show it to me so I can see if it unraveled when it really started to be used. And we'll call it even. You've entertained me for a night. You've entertained the scarves, and that's useful. It's hard to give them enrichment all the time when I'm mostly selling. Yes, okay. I've convinced myself. For free. Go ahead. It's been lovely talking to you. I'm excited to see you again. Have a good journey. Good night.